One of my favorite things to read about in books is like high stakes politics, and I'm talking about like super maneuvery, conniving, like let me see the repercussions politics. And usually with that comes rebellions and revolutions. It is one of my favorite things to read about in books. I have a lot of like 4 and 5 stars books that I think about all the time, always have this trope in them. I love it. So I want to give you guys 8 recommendations of books that I love that have this trope. You may have also seen on my channel that I'm going to be hosting the Readathon Rebellion, which is a board game style readathon that is based off of a rebellion plotline where we're going to be traveling across the board and participating in this rebellion to take down the ancestors and to rescue our leader. So I definitely hope that you guys will participate. If you want more information for that, I will leave that down in the description box. But if you're just here for the Rex, that's okay too. I've got plenty of them for you. So we've got a little bit of everything in here. I've got some romantasy. I've also got some fantasy that I love that is just like classics. So we're going to start with one of my favorites and one that helped to inspire the Readathon Rebellion, and that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I read this a long time ago and loved the progression of my journey, with The Mask Falling being one of my favorites. It's following Paige Mahoney, who is a part of this like underground gang in a world where being a clairvoyant, having these abilities is considered forbidden. It's kind of a dystopian world with heavy fantasy elements, and I love the plot line and the revolution and how she progresses and grows and how that progresses throughout this story. I think that it's just so good. I actually recently reread this series up until the most recent one, which I have not read yet, and still had a great time. I think they hold up so well. If you're looking for a unique like dystopian fantasy, then I definitely would try this. It's got great politics and it's very like in depth in those. It goes really deep in a lot of its conversations, which was incredible. Then we have one that I've recently read and loved. It's actually an older young adult, but I just read the whole series and had the best time with it. So I had to mention The Ember in the Ashes. This is like absolutely a rebellion plotline. We have Laya and her brother was taken captive, and so she agrees to help the rebellion by going undercover, and along the way meets a guy named Elias who is training to be a mask, which is one of the like guardsmen for the king. And there is this uprising, there's Jin. It's so good and I had so much fun with the characters in this. Primarily I love the way that they all work together, and then I did love like the Jin and the magic system as well, but I think we get some amazing character arcs in here and it was just so good. I would definitely recommend picking this series up if you haven't, especially since she did write Air, which is like a spin-off to this. It happens 20 or 30 years later. That I do think you should probably read this series before reading that one, and she's going to be continuing it. So if you want to be on the hype train like I wanted to be on the hype train, definitely pick this series up. We also have my favorite book of last year, and that is The Will of the Many. This one is a touch more of a stretch because the entire plot line is not revolving around this rebellion, but it's definitely the core part of the story where he is not wanting to be a part of this magic system and is kind of rebelling against that, especially within himself. So it's not necessarily like a huge group of rebellion, but it definitely is within the main character as a whole. We've got a world where basically people can take magic from others, and it depends on like the level of your powers, how much you can take and from whom, and they essentially have to go and give themselves over to this hierarchy, and he wants nothing to do with that. He tells them that he will do what he's supposed to do and he will give his strength over to the hierarchy if they will let him go to this prestigious school, but actually while he's there he's going to be investigating this like murder type thing, and it's just so complex and so good. I absolutely ate the story up. It's chunky, but I literally read it in like a day and a half, and the sequel comes out in November, so if you haven't read it yet, now is the perfect time to pick this book up. Next we have a romantasy. It's a duology that I did enjoy. It's not my favorite duology, but it absolutely like hits this prompt guideline for sure, and I think if you're somebody that likes a little bit of a slower moving plot, then you could definitely enjoy this one as well, and that is The Flame and Sparrow by S.M. Gaither. This first book definitely focuses very heavily on the rebellion. Our main character is a part of it. She is an elf in a world where elves used to have like all of this magic. They were like second only to the gods, but then they were kind of greedy with their magic, and so the gods cast them aside in favor of humans that have been leveled up as like demigods. And so the elves of course want their magic, their prestige back, and so they're fighting against these demigods essentially. She gets taken by the god of fire, and there is like an enemies to lovers type relationship. There's some really good found family vibes in here. I much preferred the first book, and I do think that the writing and like settling into the story takes a little time, probably till around 40% of this book, but overall I did really enjoy this duology. I with. I think that it's different, so I did want to recommend it, at least mention it. A classic, tried and true, one of my favorite books of a few years ago is the Firebor series. I'm counting the entire series for this one, just like the entire series of the Bone Season. This is a young adult fantasy, but it is so incredibly good. Like Ember of the Ashes, classic, cannot do it better type of fantasy. So we have two characters, and there was a revolution that allowed people to now test to be dragon riders. Anyone can, but slowly there's a new regime coming up and there is war on the horizon. We've got like this push and pull between our two main characters, a little bit of a romance, them trying to decide which side they're going to be on. And I think that the struggle that we see the characters go in this is just incredible. I love the magic system and the world building. I think that was amazing as well, but their like relationship and the struggle between the two of them and like which side are they going to be on and are they going to betray their friends and family. It was just so good. They found family vibes in here, incredible. I cannot recommend this series enough. If you haven't read it yet, you absolutely need to go pick it up because it's completed. It's 3 books and it's incredible. Then we have another romantasy that I feel like fits this vibe, but is not what you would consider like a revolution in the Bone Season type way. This definitely has more of a revolution plot line in the first like book or 2, and then it gears away from that slightly, but I still think that it counts. And that is the Spark of the Everflame series by Penn Cole. This is not completed. I will forewarn you that only 3 books are currently out. The 4th book is set to come out soon, but we don't know when. This first book was not my favorite. I found DM to be very frustrating in this first book, but as we continue through the series, she really grew on me. Luther, one of the best male main characters ever. Like, he has my whole heart, and Heat was actually one of my favorite books of last year as well, so I do highly recommend this series as a whole. She is part of this like revolution, especially in the beginning, and things do kind of develop as it goes along, but we have a mortal world that has been colonized by gods, and then we do have demigods in this as well. They've basically taken up residence in their height of their kingdom and left everyone else to fend for themselves. She is a healer and she has been forbidden from ever going up where the demigods live. What are they called? The Descended, for reasons, but she doesn't really know what those reasons are. She just knows she's not allowed to go. But when her mother goes missing, she is called upon as the lead healer to go up there and take care of some things, and the plot just kind of evolves from there. I think that, again, the romance in here, even though it's not really in book 1, and that may be part of the reason that book 1 is not my favorite, develops in such a good way, and I love where the plot went in this. Like, incredible. Another more fantasy, this is like a new adult fantasy in my opinion, and I would count the whole trilogy it is finished, is Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talk about this anymore. Cassidy read it, got me turned on to it. I absolutely loved it. We have siblings that are on 2 different sides of the war. We have one of the siblings, she has magic and she has been taken by the Empire to wield this magic, and it has a little bit of like a sci-fi element and like lightsaber type magic to it. And then we have the brother, and because she was taken from them and he just feels like they ripped his sister away from him, he is determined that he is going to fight against the Empire. So you have his side, which is like the rebellion side, and then you have her side, which is on the side of the Empire. And I think that push and pull, again, is one of my absolute favorite things. You see it in a little bit in Fireborn as well, and I just love that dynamic. I think that this series is so much fun. It's so bingeable, so easy to read, and again, I really liked the characters in here, but I think the magic system in the world really shines in this one. Last official recommendation is one that everyone has been screaming about recently. You probably already know about it, but I felt like I had to put it on the list anyway, and that is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I read this earlier this year and had the absolute best time with it. This is also a dystopian, it's not really sci-fi, it's not really fantasy, but it's definitely set in a dystopian world, and I just ate it up. It is a little bit of enemies to lovers, probably, I don't know that it's really reluctant allies to lovers, but whatever it is, it has great banter. And so we have these people that are like able to use the power of their minds, and when they do, their veins turn silver, and so you can clearly see that they're using their abilities, and people are scared of them after this war, so they are basically been turned against. Our female main character has these abilities, they're super strong, but she also has the ability to hide it because her veins don't turn colors. One day her guardian is taken and put to death in front of her, so she is determined that she is going to infiltrate this academy, figure out how to get revenge on him, and then there's also this rebellion kind of looming that is guiding her and telling her what to do while she is in this academy. I just thought it was so much fun. Like, I had a great time with it. I was flipping pages constantly. It reads so fast. I do think that the dystopian world is not as well established in this first book, but that feels very like normal to me, so I expect it to continue to develop and grow and us to see more of the rebellion, revolution, political side of things in future books. I had a great time with it, so I definitely wanted to put it on the list. And then one that doesn't really have a rebellion plotline in the beginning, and I have not read the second book to be a wholly confident, so it's like a honorable mention-ish with the caveat that I could be wrong. That is actually Hallowed Games by C.N. Crawford. This first book is very like Trials, but I do remember the ending of it kind of leaning into what will likely become a Revolution Rebellion plotline, and it is a duology, so I desperately need to get on reading the second book in the series. But we have vampires and witches. It reminds me a lot of Heartless Hunter, which would absolutely count for this as well. I don't know why I didn't put Heartless Hunter on this list, but I think that this is really, really fun if you like a trial system, if you like a kind of enemies to lovers situation where he has a little bit more of the power, but like she actually has the power. I think that it was just fun, and it read super quickly. It's super short, and I wanted to at least mention it since I think the second book is going to lean into that more rebellion plotline. So those are all of the books that I had to recommend for you guys. Short and sweet recommendation list. Hopefully you found something that you had either not heard of before or just hadn't read yet and forgot about, and I put it back on your radar. If you want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, I'm gonna have you leave me a snake emoji because this is the closest book in my reach. If you want to see other recommendation videos, I will leave my playlist up here for you guys to check out. I really hope that you will check out Readathon Rebellion and participate. I think we're going to have the best time in the month of September. As always, thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.